love too. I felt a little embarrassed when I realized what he was talking about. Alright. Das ist ein Lied über ein Mädchen. I picked her up at the specified time. I was dressed to the nines and she looked sublime in a pink sequin dress, just a bit too tight. And I was thinking this could be the night. At the restaurant, things were in full bloom. She said she had to visit the ladies' room. It may have been just a visit, but I guess along the way she decided that she'd extend her stay. Did she ever come back? No, she never came back. And the waiter was laughing as I paid the check. We were going to go to the discotheque. But actually at that point, that whole discotheque idea was pretty much off. On my way out, though, I chanced to see a girl at the bar making eyes at me. And I said to myself, so this could be good. We'll exchange smiles, phone numbers, and maybe even fluid. So I bought her a drink and I bought her 2 more. And I asked for her number as she walked out the door. She said, foom, 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 foom. And I live at number foom, foom, Strasse. Was it really her number? No, it really was not. And is all I got when I tried to call it later on. Half the date and badly, half the date and sadly, it was not a love connection, no siree. Half the date and terrible, half the date and unbearable, but that's not all, Chuck, as you will see. I stumbled round till I found another bar, which was good because I couldn't find my car. I ordered a scotch and I drank it down, and I did this several times till I lost count. They picked me up where I'd fallen down. I was read my rights and brought downtown. I can't remember very much, but I think it's safe to say that the state sucked. Half date and horrible, half date and deplorable. It was the worst thing that you ever saw. Half date and terrible, half date and unbearable. And now I've got a headache besides fucking saw. So Chuck, I don't care who the audience thinks. I'd rather be killed with the big sharp stick. I'll stay on my own, it's my natural state. Whether or not I have a day. Ooh. Understand, I don't really care about your crappy local band. Ooh. So you tell me. Am I gonna have to do the Kepi thing?
Try over.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Now keep going.
Keep going?
Yeah.
Alright. Well.
This came out Acoustic.
Oh, really?
Yes, you did.
That's the problem.
So we haven't any problem, we don't need yours.
It was
Somebody check his feet. I think his shoes are too big.
Don't you tell me I can't tell you what to do. I can, on the whole. Cause I work for a magazine, and I wrote a book about rock and roll. I wrote a book about rock and roll. I wrote a book about rock and roll. I think rock and roll is wonderful. So I wrote a book about rock and roll. I know words like sobriquet, molest, and plutocrat. And I compare the Shags to Wittgenstein. How cool is that? No, you don't. I didn't think you would. All my references out of control. Sometimes I even stun myself, but it's all in my book about rock and roll. I wrote a book about rock and roll. I wrote a book about rock and roll. Rock and roll is in my soul, so I wrote a book about rock and roll. Hey, yeah, yeah, rock and roll. Hey, yeah, rock and roll. You start doubting me. There's something you should see. Take a look at these dozens of CDs. No one And don't be surprised if I say kiss my ass. That's how rock and rollers talk, like me. But you better treat me right, cause I'm mean and powerful. But you'll never be a reference in my next book about rock and roll. I wrote a book about rock and roll. I wrote a book about rock and roll. Rock and roll is wonderful, so I wrote a book about rock and roll. Hey, yeah, yeah, rock and roll. Hey.